Hello. Welcome,
Oh,
everyone. Today is episode 5 of the Observatory with Kyu.
hello.
Why isn't
Uh,
it highlighting your name so I can shout you out? Oh, there. I'm here. Mm, there we go. Quiet Mike as always. He's gonna come right in and say that I will turn her up some more so that we can hear her.
oh,
Is that better?
oh. Ah. I'm always so quiet.
It's okay. Same here. Except for a video game. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, Hugh, let us hear about you, about your lore, about where you like to stream, about what platforms you can be found on before we dive into your star chart.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this is me. I'm Q. Uh, in the middle of a rebrand, but I will tell you my lore anyways. Uh, I am I am supposed to be uh, a white wolf bat ninja assassin. So,
Ooh,
yeah. And Um, hmm, my my I'm gonna say this. My canon event is watching my older brother kind of die, and then my eyes change colors. Uh, now I have heterochromia, and
awesome.
some murder happened, and now I'm dangerous. Oh, I'm still working on it, but that's the majority of what I have, and
Love
I
it.
stream on Twitch. And yeah, basically just on Twitch now, just streaming.
I know, that's how you know she's deadly, because she's so happy about that pass.
I'm traumatized.
Traumatized laughter.
You never want to traumatize me. I'll just go insane in the membrane.
My kitty has heterochromia too.
Ooh,
Her she has like a
hemochromia.
she has an amber eye and a golden eye. It's really cute.
Ooh, listen, we match. Golden eye.
Mm-hmm. So, thank you for your spiel. Let's get into the other spiel. All this.
Very exciting.
So, since Shin is here, and I know he wants to hear about all the loveliness that you are in the relationship. One thing is, I'm pretty sure he's noticed this about you already, is that you are a very, very loyal individual.
Hmm. Always.
And that comes from your Scorpio Venus. You also have a Scorpio Sun, Little Miss Scorpio. So you're not just
Ooh.
a Scorpio, you're also Scorpio Venus. So I'm pretty sure you already knew that you were a Scorpio. I would hope
Yeah.
so, with the face over there.
Of course.
But having a Scorpio Venus does make you and you have it in your seventh house, so it's literally like, not only is it a relationship planet, but it's a relationship planet in your relationship house. So this is the way you are with relationships, like your loving romantic relationships. But it could also be like you're very, very close, like a best friend, or like someone that you go into business with and spend a lot of time with. It's like those very deep relationship bonds. Is like, this is how you are with those. And having Venus in Scorpio, like, Scorpio is known as being like obsessive. So it's almost like the reason that your loyalty is how it is you're obsessive about your partner. It's like you can't get enough of your partner. It's pretty much how it is. Now, having it like conjunct, because it's like 1 degree over here from your sun, so it's like on there. Having it conjunct your sun means that like you're very expressive with it towards your partner. Now, the thing is, it's retrograde. Like your Venus is retrograde. So a lot of this stuff, believe it or not, he might not believe this, but a lot of stuff that you want to say, there is quite a bit that you internalize. He might not think you do, but there's actually quite a depth to you that you internalize, and you don't really like say the full gamut of, let's say, your feelings.
Well, as an introvert, I tend to do that with a lot of things, but even knowing that I'm in a relationship, very, very healthy, very happy, I'm able to do and say things. I'm like, and something always telling me, don't do it, don't say it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to though.
Yeah, that's that retrograde. Because if it wasn't retrograde, having it like right on your sun, it would almost be like this thing where it would just go blah, 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 like out of your mouth, because it's like on the thing where you express. And since it's like the same energy as like your way of liking to express, you'd be a lot more like, you probably are a very like loving person, but it's like you would be like over. So in a way, she is not keeping secrets. If anything,
No.
what she's doing is she's not being like overtly mushy, because like she would be with this like obsessive tendency right here, but since she has this internalized thing, it kind of like pulls her back from being overtly mushy, even though on the inside she's like, oh my god, I'm losing my mind here, I just want to do this. Is pretty much what it is. And it's like she's like that in like her close friendships and her relationship. Like, it's just how she is, and it's like she really like internalizes a lot of that love that she wants to just pour out into people, because she's like, that'll be too much, like she'll just sit there and think about it instead of
Just
doing it.
start overthinking.
Oh, now you gotta be over mushy.
I know he wants me to be over mushy.
You partly want to, but it's like this thing, like you said, it's like you don't understand it, but it's just like, why is this holding me back?
Exactly.
And that's this thing right here. Now, you also have the same interception that Shin does,
Whoa.
with is the Aries Libra energy, where it's like, his aggression is like slow, very slow to build. Um, it's pretty much the same with you. Like, yeah, he has a debilitated Mars. You have yours in fall. When you have a planet in fall, it's opposite of where it's at home. So it's pretty much like getting you to be like, the most angry you're gonna get is passive aggressive.
Yeah, I can see that. It's very hard to make me angry unless you like do or say something that actually like pisses me off.
That's about right. It's
It's like it has happened before with like close personal like friends that I keep telling them like it's very hard to make me angry. Like I'm a very patient person unless like there's
yeah,
something I'm very excited over, but that's not like for anger. And then there
yeah.
was like
Death
this
Karis,
incident
yeah.
happened. This incident
Hello.
happened and um just upon hearing it, I was like full blown pissed. Like everyone has never seen me that like angry before. I'm like, nah, I'm so freaking angry, and I was just full on passive aggressive towards like these
Yeah.
specific people.
It's not like you're getting like up in arms and angry. You just go full blown passive aggressive. It's like,
That's their sarcasm.
welcome, Chandon. So
Oh,
this, you also have your Mercury in Libra as well. So one thing I do want to point out that we haven't seen yet in other people's charts, I have this in my chart, so it's fun seeing it in someone else's. You have a grand air trine. I have a grand earth trine, but you have a grand air trine, which is this big triangle.
Ooh.
So that means that you have planets that connect all over 3 houses of your chart. Now, it doesn't show it because for some reason it likes to not put the north node up here and show its lines. But the north node also creates a second grand air trine. So you actually, like all the things like Shin's gonna love this. He keeps wanting to know like why you're ditzy and stuff. 2 grand air trines is pretty much like a lot of airhead energy. Because like having one is like it's already a lot of energy. It's like it makes air even if you don't have your sun or like because your rising's in Taurus, your moon's in Leo. Even though nothing in what people would see in your big 3
Mm.
is showing air, having 2 grand air trines is like air. It's like an air vortex just swirling around on your chart. But people wouldn't be able to see it. Like if they would see Scorpio, would they be like, oh, she's very deep and she's very like she could probably be very stoic, especially with that Taurus rising and probably extremely dramatic with that Leo moon. And then it's like, but she's so ditzy. What the hell's happening here? Like, it's because this is overriding all of that. She's giggly, she's ditzy, she's chatty. What's happening here? Like, I don't understand. She's not any of these things. Now, if you're personal, like you get personal, like Shin probably knows that you probably have a little bit of a dramatic flair when it comes to your emotions sometimes. But it's like, he's gonna probably be the only one that really knows that.
I only show my true self to people I trust the most.
Well, yeah, everyone else is gonna get all this grand air trine energy. Yeah, it's like 12 p.m. for me, so it's noon for me. That's like complete opposite of my time zone. But this let's talk about your first grand air trine. So
Okay.
the first one you have is with your Mercury. Like I said, that one's in Libra, which also makes you want to be very like people pleasy and the way you communicate. And then the Saturn is in Gemini. Now, Saturn is restrictions and rules, like it's also the father and things like that. So having this retrograde and having it in Gemini either means that you had an authority, because it's also authority, you either had a father and either a father or authority figure in like your early life that really was formative about your values, but in the way that made you internalize a lot of them. It wasn't like it made you outright expressive. It's like whoever like put this kind of like rules and settings on you made you feel like you had to internalize a lot of things. And it comes with like, how you deal with money, how you deal with expressing like what you hold valuable to yourself, to other people. It's like it became like something of a rule to internalize it. And like it's like that suffer in silence kind of thing, because Gemini's talking, being able to talk and having that like retrograde energy is like suffer in silence.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. So I have told this story to Shin, but as a wee little, little toddler, maybe like 2, I was very just just a ball of fire, just anger issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's so terrible. It's like you flip a coin on like the other side of the coin compared to my 2-year-old self. But I got at not even joking at the freaking 2 years old, I was expelled from school um,
My lord.
after breaking a teacher's nose.
Oh my.
So, um, I was very aggressive as a child. But to be fair, that teacher was warned. But um, like ever since then, it was like mainly my dad. It's like at home, whenever I'm like acting out or anything, he instead of, just punishment, like, in the worst, like immediate punishment, he'll like sit me down and be like, okay, you have a choice. You can either do this or you can either do that. And I will always choose the choices that he would want me to choose. But I guess that just like growing up, it just made me become like more like internal with my thinking. Like maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should do this instead. And just yeah, just
It's like he
became like
made you think. It's like the whole think before you speak. He
exactly.
put
It
like that whole thing on you from an early age.
it's like it's like think before you slap a kid in the face kind of situation. Which that has happened. Oh,
Yeah, he obviously worked very hard.
well, I'm
And
very happy.
you're glad that he sat down and was like, we're gonna make you look at this internally.
Exactly. Very. I mean, if he didn't do that, I probably would still be not being able to handle my aggression very well. But thankfully, he did. So now I'm just more of a petite little bean of
Mm-hmm.
sorts.
Of sorts. I'm just a passive aggressive little bean.
Yeah.
And the last point of the triangle is Uranus, and you have it in Aquarius, which is its home. It likes being in Aquarius. And this is also retrograde. Now, Uranus is all about those random events that just kind of happen in life for no reason at all. And it's not like trying to be good or bad or anything. It's just like I'm happening. It's also more of the thinking on a level of humanity versus yourself. And you have it opposing your moon. So a lot of times when you think about humanity, it directly opposes your thoughts on what is good for you emotionally. And you're just kind of like, screw humanity. Because this is
Oh.
not healthy for me. So, like, and the thing is, you have that retrograde. So, once again, a lot of this energy is very internalized. You have a lot of happenings that people don't see that just kind of pop up in your life, and you're like, well, I'm dealing with this now. Thank you. And it's like people don't realize how much it affects you because a lot of the change and unexpected like growth and everything is happening internally, as opposed to like say someone who had this up here, they would see it more because it's in your 11th house. If it wasn't retrograde, you'd see it more in friend groups changing, like very drastic friend group changing. But with you, it'd be like if something changes, the most drastic change is going to be what's happening internally to you. Like, say if something
Mm.
did happen friend group wise, like people would be like, "Oh, that's happening," but they're not realizing what's going on the inside. Like some people, it's like, "Oh yeah, friends change, whatever," and they like walk their way wherever they're gonna go. You'd be like, "Yeah, it's like opposing your emotionality here, so it would not be a good time for you."
Yeah. Uh, like talking about friends, I really miss my old friend group because they all moved away for university and college. And every single time I'm like thinking, should I like message them? And like, should I say hi? And then just something tells me like, it's been way too long. Just leave them be. And I'm like, okay. And I'll be very sad. But then I have a new friend group that I have, just made along the way on my Twitch journey, and that makes me happy. But yeah,
But it's still creeping up in there.
it's still like every time I go on Instagram, I'll be like, ah, dang it.
Well, see, the
No.
thing is, like, even though you have all this air energy, having a Venus in Scorpio means that you form deep bonds with people.
Yeah.
So it's like you might have a lot of ditzy kind of air energy, but the bonds you make with people are very deep.
I care for all my friends and their well-beings.
Yeah, a lot more than people think.
Yes. To the point, if they're in pain or like suffering with something, it just grows internally in my emotions, and I'll like cry for them or just cry just thinking about them. It's just
Yeah, but you're not gonna tell them about that.
of course not. Of course not. Gotta be strong.
That's all your stuff that you
Yeah.
keep to yourself. That's why it's like people would never expect that from you because it's like you're the probably more of the fun friend who's always easygoing, and it's like you're there to listen, but they don't really know how much you listen because they might see you as being ditzy, and it's like, what the heck? Okay, look, I know I'm this way, but I really am listening. It's kind of,
Right.
it's like a how can I put this? I can't tell if they're zoned out or listening.
Like, I am listening, I swear. I mean, even if I'm looking down at my phone, I'm still listening. So if I hear something weird, I'll be like, I'm sorry, what you just say?
Some people have that natural ability to be able to multitask and do like 50 things and still somehow listen to everything you're saying. I'm not one of those. I only have one good ear. It's like there's a good chance I'm not going to hear you while you're talking to me. So,
Uh, I'm pre- I'm pretty sure I lost like a bit of my touch because as a child, it just multitasking by like doing like a random thing with my hands under like a school desk, just like maybe like playing with a piece of paper and listening. It was insane to the point that my parents have to like repeat the story because I couldn't believe them. It's like,
mm,
um, well, for those who like, don't know, and I'm open to share this, I have what's called trichotillomania, which is the um, kind of like hair pulling disorder.
oh yeah, that's what it sounded like. I heard the trick. I was like hair, and I was like, then it went fast, and my brain was like, nope, you're not awake enough for that yet.
But I have that, but it mostly affects like my eyebrows. But as a kid in like elementary school, I would always
Mm,
have like my hands either in my hair, not even like pulling hair out, just running my fingers in my hair,
mm-hmm,
or just doing something under my desk, like playing with a piece of paper to try to distract myself.
mm-hmm.
Um, and this math teacher, my goodness, she was so mean. She kept kind of calling me out because I was always distracting myself. And
Mm.
once she's like, you're clearly not paying attention. I'm like, yeah, I am. She asked me, okay, what did I just say? And then my little self proceeded to repeat every single word that she had said for like the past 30 minutes in like a 50, like, I guess like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And she just shocked. She left me alone for the rest of the day. It was insane. I wish I was able to do that, but I'm listening and then sometimes I forget stuff and then it just sucks.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, if I wasn't listening, I really wasn't listening. But you see what I mean, though? It's like some people really can do that stuff. And it's just how they're wired.
It's crazy.
Cookie time.
Hey, no, okay. It's not my fault the cookies were soft, okay?
Soft cookies are good, though.
Exactly. I love soft cookies, but they're very hard to like transfer. It's just very hard to transfer or like flip because it's every single time I'm trying to flip them onto a plate, they break in half and
Tell that story.
just yeah.
He wants you to
I
tell the cookie
the
story.
tell story. Okay, so this takes place in two different like events. One was during VidCon. This was before Shin and I started dating, but we were like crushing hard on each other. Um, we decided to make cookies since we had like the packaged cookies, and we're like, okay, great, let's do it. And as soon as it's like ready, we needed to flip them onto like a plate so that everyone could have a cookie because it was like more than just me, Shin and I.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I can do it. I watch my mom bake all the time, and I would help her sometimes. I'm like, I could do it. And I grab a spatula or something else, and I go to flip it, and it just crumbles into like a gooey mess. And we just started laughing like crazy because it's. And I was frustrated. I got a little frustrated on the cookie. I'm like, no, I can do it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how many times it happened, but the spatula ended up being taken away from me.
You missed.
You missed? Did I miss? Did I? Oh, did it fall on the table? I don't remember the entire thing because it's just last year.
She's black. She's just like, nope, that didn't happen. Sorry.
It did not even onto the table. Oh, wow. The other instance was during. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was like during our like Shin and I's kind of like first official date, and we went to like Disney. Um, we were like staying at like a resort because yeah, and we
Yeah.
decided to make cookies. We decided to make cookies again, and I can do it this time. I promise. And I don't exactly remember how the cookie ended, but I'm pretty. Did it break in half? I don't know, but it was the spatula was taken from me again.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
insane. I don't know what happened to the cookie, but we just started laughing because twice. It happened twice.
You flip it onto the table again. The thing that she blocks out from her memory is how it lands on the table. She doesn't know it lands on the table.
I thought it would land on the.
She doesn't want to remember
Okay,
the bad memories, okay? She just forgets the
exactly.
part where it goes onto the table. She just knows it was a funny time and it went somewhere it wasn't supposed to, but not the table.
If I don't remember, it didn't happen. Oh, yeah, that's the cookie story. I will try again.
And there will be another table incident.
There better not be. Then I'm banned from cookie duty.
Okay.
Oh.
So, since we talked about that Grand Air Trine, I do want to mention something that I just saw when I was looking.
Mhm.
Everyone, all of you that I've read for so far, why do you all have Chiron and Capricorn? All of you. Is this just a running gag that everyone that comes on here is gonna have this now?
We are one.
It's like you guys are like the hurt generation here with the thing where I can never do enough. I can't succeed. I want to make Papa proud, or just no dad to begin with. There is like the hurt generation when it comes to father figure over here.
Father figure.
Either that, or it's just really being averse to rules and restrictions, like having like this wound around being placed in like a traditional set way of doing things, because Capricorn's also tradition, which is why like it upholds like a lot of things like the medical institutions and rules and regulations and stuff is a like very traditional energy.
Mm.
So it's like having that wound in like a traditional sense where it's like, quit trying to make me be this way because I'm not this way, and it's just like this wound you carry around with you. And you have it in your ninth house, which is the house of like higher learning and like spirituality, religion, expanding your mind, like being like an open thinker, travel, all that stuff. It's like, yeah, it really could be that it's like a wound around more how can I put this? More like you think a lot different, and it's like this wound around being put in this box that doesn't fit you. Like a lot.
Yes. I guess I could see that. I mean, uh, hmm. I guess my either like I think it would be like more of like feminine people in my life would try to make me uh more feminine as I feel comfortable. It's
Mm.
like, here, try this dress, or let's go like shopping. And I really hate like going into like changing rooms. It's like,
Dude, I
try
hate
this
it
on,
too,
try this
man.
on.
Oh my god, it would drive me crazy because I'm not like a big shopping person. Like,
I like browsing.
I will do stuff online. Don't make me go into the store and deal with people because they can be irritating. Like, and then don't make me go and try on like 50 different things. Like, I don't want to do that
I
either. It's not
if
like the
I'm
freaking
not
clothes
into it,
Olympics.
if I'm not into it, don't make me do it because I'm gonna be pretty annoyed. Like, let me browse. If I'm very excited to try something on, I'll try it on. But if you try to give me more things that I'm not interested in, please don't.
Oh my
Uh,
god. Like, I had that happen with an ex of mine
oh no.
where it's like he was picking out all the stuff that he wanted me to try on, and I was just like, and the thing was, he wasn't buying it. I was the one buying it. So it was like
Oh.
irritating me. And like he wanted me to try, and I was telling him like I don't like it, and it was a dress. And I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like the structure of it, and I'm not gonna like wearing it. And it's like really freaking expensive. I don't like it at all. Like, why are you making me even try it? And he kept pushing it, and so I went and tried it on, and he was like, now you gotta buy it. I'm like, oh my,
What?
yeah, he was very pushy. Like, that's why he's an ex.
No pushy, not allowed. No
A-
pushy allowed.
And I did not, like, I ended up buying it because of how it was. And, you know, I never wore it. It was like an expensive thing in my freaking closet that I never wore. Because I was like, when would I even wear this? And he's like, well, I'll take you on a date. Did not happen. So, yeah, no, that pissed me off so bad. Because I was there trying to get some like new clothes that I needed, and he was like doing all this frivolous crap, and it was pissing me off.
Ooh.
And it's like, you know, it'd be one thing if like you're doing that and you're like, oh, I'll pay for it, but no, you weren't.
I might have to like get, I guess, like new clothes soon after the move.
They'll
I don't
move.
know. The move. And of course I would want Shin's help. I'm not gonna get upset or anything. Company always welcome. I love Shin.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm pretty sure
uh
he's not gonna force you to buy something that you actively
no.
don't like. So it's
No.
like with your own money.
No. I'm 100% sure Shin would like be like making sure um that I like something. I'm
Yeah.
back what I miss.
Well,
We're
he's
talking
really
about you.
respectful. He's not like overbearing with shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, we were just talking about how my ex was a douche, forcing me to buy things with my own money that I didn't even want. And she was like, I'm just glad that Shin wouldn't do that. I'm like, yeah, he wouldn't. He actually has respect for people.
Shit, no. Compared to anyone else in my life, if they try to make me wear a dress, if that I'm not like looking at, I'll be like slightly annoyed. But if it's Shin, I would wear it 100%.
Mm.
I don't know. Shin just has that magic power. He's like, I would wear a dress for you.
Well, yeah, he
Always.
probably also, like, if it's something he liked, he wouldn't be like, you have to buy it because I like it.
No.
Like, you know, like, I think that's
No.
probably what annoyed me the most. It's like, if you like it so damn much, you buy it.
Shin is more the type of, you don't have to buy it if like just because I like it, and I'll be like, no, I want to.
Yeah, you see, there's a big difference there.
Exactly.
See, that's why Shin's a keeper, even though he likes making fun of the ditzy stuff.
You,
He finds it
yep.
endearing.
Wait, how many nicknames did he give me? He's giving me like weird ass nicknames for stuff that I do. What was it? Um, one was hmm. Oh, I keep forgetting what they were, but it's just there's so many nicknames for different aspects of what I do. I think one of them was a freaking motor.
A
Like
motor?
yeah, but he's gonna pull up the list.
Oh god.
The the motor or something like that is because like during VidCon he found out, and I also found out that I snore in my sleep, so that nickname popped up. It's oh
Oh no.
yeah,
It's okay.
there's a
My
lot.
boyfriend talks in his sleep. It is very entertaining. He also sits up and does stuff. Like I thought he was awake the other night because he was
So
sitting up and he was petting the cat and he was like, "You're such a good girl. You're so pretty." And I was like, "You awake? Like what?" And then he laid back down and started snoring. I was like, "Oh my god, he was asleep talking to the kitty and petting her."
that is that is so funny. Oh,
His talking, like, it cracks me up because I'll sit there, like, if he starts talking to me, I'll talk to him and he responds. So like, I don't know, it's become like one of my favorite things to like try to talk to him if he starts talking in his sleep.
oh, oh! I can't wait to see what Shin does in his sleep. I'm gonna like keep a notepad and write them down. Like, okay, this night Shin did this. This other night he did this.
Oh, now you can't be boring, Shin. You gotta be entertaining while you sleep.
I also talk in my sleep, just not as much lately. Wow.
Well, I noticed that my boyfriend talks a lot more if there's like some stressors. Like he'll talk like a lot more. Like he talks regular, like just kind of like his own thing, but he'll talk like a lot if like he's stressed about something.
That would make sense, I think,
Yeah,
with the
I don't
stress.
talk, so I found it really interesting like the first time it happened and he was talking about Pokemon in his sleep. And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "It's a legendary." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like explaining Pokemon stuff to me in his sleep.
That is oh, I if I were to talk in my sleep, the one thing I would love to have like a sleep talk with is about the Five Nights at Freddy's lore.
Yeah.
That would be so entertaining.
Yeah, I don't know what makes people talk in their sleep, but I found it very, very entertaining.
Oh,
Okay, so back to your stuff, that nice little side note we had there.
yes.
So the other grand air trine you have is one between Mars and where it doesn't show it right here with your north node. It doesn't draw its little line there and to your Neptune. Now, the Mars energy is your passive aggression that I told you about. It's also you having that kind of, because it's not just your aggression, it's also like your motivation and how you take action towards things, your ambition. So you can be
Mm.
very passive in those areas. Almost like it's easier for someone to push you to do something than it is for you to kind of get it and do it yourself. Or even like for like if there's friends doing it, it's easier for you to be like, I'll be swept up in it instead of like deciding to actively do something on your own.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. It's like growing up, my parents are like, I know what you're gonna do in college. I'd be like, what? They'll be like, you're gonna do something with art. That is what you're gonna do. Yeah, your passion. Be like,
That's your
okay.
passion.
I'm like, okay, whatever you say. And then now I'm gonna go to college for computer animation, so it's like movies and stuff. Uh, and other things, it's I've been playing Final Fantasy 16 recently,
Mm-hmm.
and I've just been swept. Like after my brother played it, I'm just playing it. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. I love this game. All the characters, amazing. 10 out of 10. then here comes my brother, and he starts to give me tips on how to do stuff, and I'll just lose interest. I'm like, don't tell me how to do my stuff. I know how to play.
You're like, let me fumble a little bit. This is the first thing I've been active in on my own. Let me try it.
He's like, if you tell me how to do something, I'm gonna be all like pouty. Be like, don't tell me.
Yeah, that passive aggression right there, the pouty coming out.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, let me do it on my own. It's just like,
I'll just start being, yep, yep, to every single thing that you said, like with a serious ass face, and be like, yep, yep, whatever you say. Please go away.
Because you don't have the directness over here to be like, can you stop doing that?
I was like, I would tell him, but I'm like, I don't want to be mean to my brother. I don't want to like be that rude. Be like, yeah, just yeah. Oh.
Well, it's like, it's funny that Shin said that you're his princess. Because if anything, like the Leo moon is, to me, it gives off princess energy. It gives off that, like, that kind of thing where it's like being dramatic with the emotions, but also being like kind of like pouty about it. And it's also one that likes to be pampered, like, because you know Leo likes attention and likes being pampered and likes being taken care of. So it's all about itself. So all about the emotions here. So having that, it really gives off princess energy, like very princess with the emotions in the inner world, very very bougie inner world. Leo's often seen as being bougie too, because it's like they have all the nice things.
I don't know.
Introducing the praise kink. Yep, there you go. That would definitely be it right there. It's like, yes, tell me more things about myself, please. That are good, not my ditzy stuff. Tell me all the good stuff about myself, please.
About like all the like what you said, Bushi, about having all the nice stuff. It's I've been told many times that I have a rich family. I'm like, I don't have a rich family. They're like, yeah, you do.
It's more like, okay, it might not be rich family, but you know how to make things look good.
That would make sense.
So it gives off the sense of being rich when in reality, because, okay, let me explain this. You have Jupiter down here in your 4th house. You're not lacking for things in the home, but it does give off the sense because it's squaring your sun and your Venus. So how you express yourself comes off a lot larger than what you may feel you actually are. Like, your friendships may perceive you as that too, because it's almost like Jupiter is giving this like oomph to it, and it's in Leo, so it's giving this showy oomph to it, like that bougie oomph, for like no reason at all. And it's like, it's just doing it. Hey, light. So, and it comes from your 4th house. So people think that all the bouginess originates in your family. That's what they're going to think. For you, it's just going to feel like you're very stable and you have like a very good foundation and you don't have to worry about things. But a lot of like the good stuff does come from having that kind of stable family, though it can seem that to other people it's very showy. Even though you're like, nah, it's pretty normal here, because your 4th house is ruled by Cancer, which is very nurturing. It's very like, very homebody, very comfy. But having Jupiter and Leo in there is like, it throws people off. Because you know how your home life is. You know it's very comfy and very like down to earth and like very cozy. And you're sitting here like, why is everyone thinking I'm freaking bougie? It's because you have a very rich inner world. And when you have that kind of thing, people kind of see that energy on you as opposed to what it might actually be. Because you know how people, like, they can have things that aren't expensive, but it could come off as being expensive?
Yes.
You have that kind of energy. Even though you don't realize it, you have that kind of energy. Which is probably why people like trying to dress you up. Because it's like, oh, she will look so, or they, but they throw that she on you. They will look so good in this because of this bougie factor. They're gonna light this up. But you're like, I don't feel it. It's like, nah, that's not where my roots are. My roots are very cozy and comfy. So you like, it's close to your moon, so you know, you like when your emotions are pampered and like that's
Yes.
babied. You like when that's showered with gifts. When you're nice, peaceful, especially because fifth house energy, which is where your moon is all about like your creativities, the things you're passionate about. It can also be, well, for some people it's children, but it's not for everybody. Like, I don't like throwing on people, you know, you have something in here, you're gonna have kids, because I know for me personally, when I was younger I thought I wanted them, and then it's like it changed as I got older. So it's like I feel like that's very personal for the people. But having like your emotions in here is almost like things light up and you get very excited when you're able to create things you like. Because they don't ever see. See, that's what I mean. It's like you give off that energy, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are that. It's just this impact that Jupiter's had around your chart where people pick that up. Like even in the workplace, because you have it like opposing your Neptune, it can give off, because Neptune energy is really rose-colored glasses or very dreamy or just illusion. So it can give off the illusion in like either the workplace or your reputation, things like that. It can also be like online persona for reputation too. It can give off the fact that you're very well off when in reality you're like, okay, that's illusion. You think I am. It is illusion. Like, you know, him saying the Mercedes things, everyone's gonna like have their assumptions. That's very like reputation based. And it's like opposing this, so you're like, but I know how my roots are and it's not the truth. Like it's that illusion coming up. So you could use it to advantage, because you could get things easier, you know, since your ambition's a little lacking, you could kind of use it as opportunities for yourself, you know, your daily life, seeming bougie. It's just knowing how to work it for yourself.
I must
But
master that.
yeah, it's like you can master the art of like passively getting things you want without really having to try. It's just you have a setup for it. It's like not everyone really has that kind of setup where it's like you kind of, it's almost like hitting the like striking oil or getting the gold rush or whatever. Like everyone has that kind of thing in their chart where it's like their own personal thing, but they have their own different ways of getting it. Yours is going to be more like a passive way of getting it. And having like Jupiter in the fourth house, it's going to be wherever you make home is going to be like blessed for you. So it's just having that energy. That's why it's like it might not always be the family they see. They're just going to see wherever you live as having that luck to it and having that feel to it. Like you could even have a place with Shin and people are still gonna think, oh, she's coming from money. No matter what you're doing. That's just what people are gonna do. And you're gonna be like, the hell? You guys thought this was my family. I'm not even with my family anymore. You guys are still doing this to me. It's pretty much gonna be like that kind of thing. So it's like an energy that you kind of carry with you. But you know everything's like comfy and cozy. Like, you know that personally, but everyone else is just kind of like having their projections on you. Because seventh house is like that projection energy that people bring to you. It's like you attract people that have like the depth to them, but they might, like, because Taurus ascendant, they're going to see you as being rich and beautiful. It's just the kind of energy you give off. That, what's that word? Glamour. You give off glamour for no reason, and you don't know why. And you're just existing, and it's like, okay, I have this energy of glamour, cool. But
Oh.
not knowing that, it'd just be like, I feel like, I just love really hard and I'm kind of ditzy. I don't understand why people put this on me. It's because it's a rising and descendant type thing, and then people pulling that energy out of your house without you realizing it. Because Jupiter isn't a personal planet, it's generational, so it's going to be like this overarching energy instead of like this personal energy you really feel.
Mm.
So like groups of people are going to feel it around you more. It's kind of like, having in there your family is going to give this larger than life feel, especially if people like come around you and them at the same time. It's like you by yourself is like this very intimate, very like close thing, but coming around you and your family, it gets big. And it's like, this is loud. Because Leo is very loud energy. So even if you're a little more quieter, it doesn't mean that your family's going to be quieter. I mean, look at your brother giving you tips you're not asking for. But but it's like, it's cozy. Like to you it's cozy. Other people it might just seem loud. And you're like, this is normal. But one thing you also have, because your Jupiter's touching quite a few things here with your little lines. You also have Jupiter making a trine to your Pluto. Now, this means I've met their family is very accurate.
Yeah.
It's all in good fun, though. They like having fun. Leo's all about having the fun. But
No.
having Pluto up here, trining Jupiter, it brings that lucky energy into your eighth house. Now, eighth house is dealing with other people's money, like investments, like your investment in things. It can also deal with like inheritance and things like that. I know you probably don't want to think about inheriting things from your family. You want to just keep them around. But, having Pluto in there shows that, possibly like down in the future when you're older, and that happens, that would be something that's set up for you. Because you have Pluto in there and it's trining it and bringing it into that house. It's just kind of the setup for it, like being taken care of later by an inheritance. And also, it shows that, having Pluto, which is, the planet of like transformation and like all this very deep stuff, having it in the eighth house, which, at home and Scorpio type energy, eighth house energy, you have all this Scorpio stuff going on over here. But having this, it shows that you have like the things that come up with Pluto, the things you go through, the transitions and stuff. Having a trine to Jupiter, it means they're big. And whatever kind of like life things happen over here in the eighth house, like I said, because eighth house is death, that's why it can be inheritance. That's why it could be such a big life-changing thing for you, because it wouldn't just be like, some people that aren't really connected to their family getting that kind of thing. Like you have a closeness to your family, so it wouldn't just be like, oh, I got an inheritance from a parent that I don't talk to ever. It'd be like you're getting an inheritance from someone that you really care about, so it would be like a deep thing instead of you just getting something. So it's kind of like that dual edge thing where it's like, yes, it was like an easy thing for you to get this, but it's like gonna have a profound effect on you.
Yeah, I can see that. I could see that happening. Uh, last year, I have lost my grandpa due to cancer and stuff, and so um, the, the, he oh my god, bleh. He had a house with my grandma in like their birthplace, Puerto Rico, um, and which is all paid for. I think they paid off the entire house, so it's their house. Uh, so after he passed, it was down to my grandma, and my mom had told me that if whenever my grandma passes in the future, it's gonna fall down to their three children, so like my aunt and uncle and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever happens to like for example like my mom, my dad or something,
Mm-hmm.
uh it's gonna like pass down to like my brother and I. So it's like I guess that would count
Yeah, there's
because
probably a
it's
lot more to it than you think, because that's the thing with Pluto. There's always going to be more things, because Pluto can be hidden things too. So,
yeah.
and eighth house is hidden energy. So there could be a lot more that you don't realize than like just like house type things. Like there could be like investments and different things like that that they wouldn't think to talk to you about, because it'd be like, how is someone that's young gonna understand this stuff?
Mm.
So it's like there could be a lot of other stuff you just don't know about. And plus there could be things that your parents have that they like are invested in and stuff too, that goes down too. Like it's not just going to be the grandparents. Like they're not going to talk to you about their stuff yet, because they don't want you having that on your head, you know?
I don't know, yeah.
So they'll talk about a little bit of stuff, but there's always going to be a lot more that isn't going to be revealed to you until that time, which is probably why it's going to be like, it'll be like a lot of good things, but it's going to be coming at, you know, this kind of sad transition at the same time. Oh, my nose itchy. There we go. But besides the Pluto, another thing that you have, because you know that's like personal. That eighth house stuff is a lot more personal. It's
Mm.
not going to be like really talked about unless you choose to talk about it. But your 10th house, even though you have Neptune up here in your 10th house, it it's pulling a lot of stuff to it, because it has like a lot of interaction with everything else in your chart. So it's almost like, even though it's up here by itself, it's pulling a lot of things to it. Like for one, it's pulling that Jupiter up there and giving that energy, but it also, any connection with Jupiter is good, because you're going to pull some good. It's not like Uranus.
Mm.
It's not like it's just gonna do random things because it feels like it. Jupiter likes doing good things. It likes doing big good things that like help you throughout life, whether it's externally or internally. Depends on if it's retrograde. But for you, it's externally, which is why you have like the comfy home life. But you also have all of this energy going to different places. Neptune's doing that too, but it's shooting the other direction. So it's like all this stuff is like feeding back and forth to like this image that can be created up here for you. Now, obviously, this outer image that you have for yourself, that's more, how can I put this? It's like being the individual out here, like creating that image, the illusion of like the individual. You don't, it's like there's this tension because there's squares between your sun and your Venus. So it's almost like this tension between showing this very personal side of yourself that you show in close relationships out to the world. Because there might be like maybe some pressure from some people that it's like, you know, these people don't really see you for who you are, but you feeling like, well, maybe they don't need to see me for who I am. Like, you know, that kind of tension that comes there. Like, I'm okay with having this face for the world. They don't need to see this, is pretty much what it is. So it kind of creates that internal conflict. Because it's hard enough for you to show it to your personal relationships. You're like, I don't feel like throwing it out there for the world to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, some people, they're perfectly fine with like putting their all out there, like for the world to see, like the whole everything. You're just more like, I'll give you guys some pretty roses, okay? Like you don't need to see all this nitty gritty under here. Like you're fine. You get to see the pretty stuff, the fun stuff, the giggly stuff. You don't need to see all this stuff. My deep emotions, that's mine. You know, it's like keeping some things for yourself.
That yeah, I tend to like kind of keep more of myself. I guess from like family, a lot compared to like Shin. Shin knows like a lot about me
Mm-hmm.
compared to like some of my family members. It's because Shin knows that I'm like gender fluid, pansexual, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And the last time I tried to like, tell my parents and be like, hey, um, it's like more like kind of, it was like back in my teen years when I was still like kind of figuring everything out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know that what gender fluid was called at the time. So I was like trying to explain it to my mom, like, hey, I feel like I'm not like, some days I'm like a girl, some days I'm not a girl, and then sometimes I'm just not a boy or a girl. And then she's like, and she like gave me this weird face. I don't know. It was like, I guess it was more concerned or something. She gave me his face and she was like, "Are you telling me you're trans?" And I'm like, "What? No, I'm not telling you I'm trans." She said, "Oh, okay." And she walks away. And I'm like, "You know what? I'm not going to tell her anything." And I'm like, I'm not going to tell her anything. Uh so all my family call me like she, her, and all my close friends and Shin and everyone, they would like call me like any pronouns because I say I'm okay with any.
Mm-hmm.
But the most pronouns that are used are like she, her, they, them,
Mm-hmm.
and I just tend with my brother too. It's so annoying with my brother because it it's so annoying. It's like, what he does is so annoying. It's like I have they, them as my pronouns on my Discord,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm talking to one of his friends because we're chatting about this game,
Mm-hmm.
and so they call me by they, them, which was the correct pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother interrupts him and he's like, "No, she, her." I'm like, no, your friend was right. He's like, "No, no, he's not. You're she, her." It's so annoying.
Oh my
Even
god.
and then showing him my pronouns on my Discord profile, like, "Look, they, them." What he said was right. He's like, "Whatever." And then other times I try to explain that I'm gender fluid and that it's like this and that and that. He just stares at me and goes, "No, you're not." It's so annoying. I know he's not like, you know.
It seems like he's just trying to be annoying at this point.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
taking the brother role of being annoying a little too far.
it's like I know he's not like a bad person. He's not doing it to be like terrible.
Yeah.
It's it's like either he's doing it to be annoying or he genuinely doesn't understand. Like he doesn't understand. Even with like stuff that's medical. Be like, "So, my doctor said that I might have anxiety and depression." And he
Mm-hmm.
stares at me again and goes, "No, you're not." I'm like, "You can't just say no, I'm not to something a doctor told me." It was awful. It's so annoying with him, but like he probably doesn't understand, and that's why I like, kind of keep that part of my life from my family, and then just talk to Shin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that was the thing. Because it's like I already told you, like how the dad seems like whatever the talking was, like that was internalized. But
Yeah.
it's like the moon can also represent the mom, and having it in Leo, it's like, you know, what I said earlier, like she could be loud, but having, having it in Leo, it's more of a Leo can be very surface with its understanding of things instead of being like, you know, deeper, like how Scorpio energy can be like very deep and like transformative and things like that. Leo tends to be more showy and more like the the attention seeker and things like that. So it could be that, you know, a lot of times, you know, with your mom, certain connections, it's like she could be there and be very generous as a mom, but at the same time there could be a disconnect with feeling some things were very surface.
Mm.
Because even though the mom could be, because Leo is very generous with everything, it's just a generous sign, especially if it's buttered up with compliments. But but at the same time, it can make it to where things are very surface instead of making it more like tangible and very deep like other signs do. So instead of having like that deep connection, whether it was through like happy or bad times, pain or whatever, it's more of like a surface level, like almost like acquaintance, like, you know, that star acquaintance kind of energy where it's like even if you know them, you don't really feel like you know them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one way that can play out with the mom, because even though like, you know, you have the comfy cozy life, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have those deep relationships like you do with other people, because that's actually like having a squared energy with your planets where you express yourself. So even though there's like a lot of good that can come, and even though they'd be really receptive of people that you bring home and everything because they're just nice people, it doesn't necessarily mean you can go very deep with them. Now, for other people, that might not matter as much because they're not trying to get deep with your family, but for you, it could be very irritating. It's like, thank you for accepting my friends, but you're not really understanding me as a person. It'd probably be easier for them to accept your friends as they are, as opposed to how you would be.
Yeah.
Another thing right here, your Mercury is actually making a sextile to your moon. So 6th house is where your Mercury is. 6th house deals with a lot of different things. One, it can deal with, you know, your routines throughout the day, like everything you do every single day is like your daily life. But it can also deal with like your physical health. It can deal with, you know, your house pets. It can deal with coworkers. You know, the thing, it's like literally things you deal with on like the daily. Now, having your house being ruled by Virgo, that's literally the ruling energy of it, because you have an interception. Instead of it being in the 6th house, it intercepted it and made it Virgo. So it's in the natural energy that it needs to like ground itself for being a 6th house, but having the interception inside of it makes it wonky.
Oh.
Because it's like you naturally have the energy that you need if you wanted to like have your like routines and stuff be established and be able to work through things. But having the interception and having it with your Mars and Mercury in there is like, this is your ability to communicate and learn, as well as your ambition and your aggression. So they're like intercepted in here. So it's almost like, even though you have the energy of being able to, you know, make routines and stuff, finding the ambition to make the routines and the ability to communicate boundaries around your routines is kind of lacking. It's like the thought could be there for making it. The planning, because Virgo's all about planning. You could plan for it till the cows come home. You could really plan out some things. But actually initiating it and doing it, it's like that's very passive. And then your ability to tell people, hey, I'm going to do this thing, is very passive. So it's almost like I'll kind of test out the waters and tell people I'm thinking about doing this, and based on their reaction will be if I do it or not. Instead of you just doing it like somebody that, like, say had more like Aries energy, they would just do it instead of like asking people.
Yeah.
Even if it's good for you.
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
Like,
I mean, she'd have great energy for planning it, and she'd have a great eye for it and everything. But her actually doing it, I mean, if you praised her, she could do it. If you tell her that she's a good girl, that she did a great job, she could probably do the whole thing by herself.
most likely.
But if you're just gonna be like, so you planned the wedding and now what do I have to do? No. They don't want to give you orders to do things.
It's like, Oh my god, I hate like asking people to do stuff for me because I feel bad. I feel bad. It's like um, it's um. I lost my train of thought. It's like I need it, it. Oh my goodness. It's okay. Let's use the wedding for example. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I already have like multiple different ideas for a wedding because that's one of my favorite things to do. Like
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I'd be like, "Oh, this idea is great. This idea is amazing," and I just put it all together, and then realizing that I would need help first doing certain things, and be like, you know what? Maybe scratch this idea. Do something I could do with it.
Yeah, what you need
Is
help with is someone saying, "Tell me that you need help."
yeah, because
'Cause-
it's like I don't want to like ask people to do stuff for me if they don't want to, because then I feel bad.
yeah. This is that okay, that's one thing Libra energy is kind of known for, is the people pleasing thing, because
Yes.
it's the sign of like the other person, like instead of being like of like for yourself. And plus on top of that, you have it intercepted, your of self energies intercepted in the 12th house, so it's like being about myself is hidden from me in this house of hidden things that you can't see into. And then on top of that, it's intercepted energy, so it doesn't really exist. So of me doesn't exist. Thank you. And it's pretty much what you fight with.
It's sometimes pretty hard for me to say no if
Yeah,
people ask me to do stuff for them. He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and internally I'm like, "No, why
you're
did you say?"
screaming.
I'm like, "Why did you say yes? You know you don't want to do it. You know you're mentally freaking drowning."
Hmm. Yeah, that's the whole thing, because the 12th house can be hidden enemies, and it's almost like you yourself is your own hidden enemy a lot of times. Because it's just like all this energy that should be like you being able to assert yourself is just hidden away very deeply in this house. So it's almost like you feel like anytime you try to do something for yourself, it's bad. This is why I ask you 500 times.
It's different. Okay, with Shin, it's different. With Shin, if Shin asks me to do something, I'll 100% do it, even if I forget. Because I know Shin isn't gonna get like mad at me because I can't handle forgetting stuff. I can't help it. I just forget stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then days passed, and it's like, ah, shit, I was supposed to do that.
It
So it's
happens.
yeah,
It happens.
like I was supposed to make a list. Shin had asked me to make a list with like furniture stuff and what we would need to move.
Mm-hmm.
I would keep forgetting to do it. I would keep forgetting to do it, and I was like mentally beat myself up for it. It's like, no, no, I was supposed to do this list,
Well, that's
and
one
I
thing,
feel bad.
is you would be good at doing lists. Like, it's not like you wouldn't be good at it. You're good at planning and lists. It's the whole thing of like stuff just kind of getting away from you with this energy. Because Mercury is like how you think, but it's also like retaining knowledge and communication and things like that, and then learning things. So having that intercepted along with your like ambition and stuff is pretty much like all these things that you communicate with people is kind of lost off in a void somewhere. Even though you're very obsessed and love your people, it's probably why it drives you crazy a little bit, because it's like, I know I care about my people a whole freaking lot, but they don't think I care.
And I do care.
You care a lot. You care so much it hurts. So that's what
Exactly.
this is up here, being conjunct with each other. It hurts. So having this in here is just kind of like, damn it. And the thing is, this happens to you daily. That's probably why it feels like you're just very forgetful. This is like your daily energy having this in here. Like if it was somewhere else, it could be affecting, you know, the way you view the world or like your interactions with your family. No, this is you daily. Because of where it's sitting, and you're just having to deal with it daily.
Oh, painful, painful days.
Because even though like a lot of people would see this as being like, you know, very passive, very lighthearted and stuff, having this right here with all these squares going to your expression and your relationships, it just feels very trying for you. Because it's like even having Neptune up here, this illusion you give off, it's like, I didn't say that. It quite literally, you probably say that a lot on the internet to people. I didn't say that. Because it's square right here going between these two.
It's like it's like it's like, okay, I forget sometimes that I send stuff to Shin or tell him stuff, and to the point that like a while later or maybe even the next day I'll repeat it, like, hey, did you know that this and that and that? She goes, yeah, you told me. I'm like, no, I didn't. What do you mean? No, I didn't. He's like, yeah, you say. And then like, what up, I don't know, screenshot it and then send it to me. I'm like, oh shit, I did. I can't. Why? Oh.
Yeah, just be careful because since it like does make this aspect to like your public like persona and stuff, you could like without obviously you don't even know you're doing it because it's like in this interception, but it's like this energy gets brought out and then people could, yeah, you see he finds it cute, but in a workplace people won't find it cute. Like that kind of like forgetfulness and stuff could have like a bad effect on reputation when it comes to like either work or like social standing and stuff, because people could get irritated with it. And then it's like, okay, like, you know, he loves you for how you are, but the world doesn't owe you that, sadly. As much as everyone preaches that, you know, we should love each other as we are, a lot of people just don't.
It's so sad.
And a lot of people flat out refuse to just because they can, which is also very sad. Like, you want to be a hate-filled person just because you can, that's honestly kind of sad to me. Okay, so trying to make sure I got, oh yeah, I kind of like, see, my mind does that too, where I can like, run off somewhere. Okay, this right here, I was going to tell you about your grand air trine before I like skipped over to something else that sidetracked me. But your Mercury makes a trine, even though it's not showing its little blue line, to your North Node. Now, your North Node is in Gemini. North Node is all about like what you're really pulled to do, things that excite you. But as always, you can have too much of a good thing and it can become like overbearing and like turn obsessive in your life. So you have to be careful, because it really does make you excited when you're doing this thing, but it can take over your life if you don't have balance. So, and the thing is, the reason this could easily take over your life is it being in second house, it could turn into something that makes you like a lot of money. So it's about having work-life balance when you really get into this. So this being in Gemini, North Node Gemini, Gemini is all about learning. It's all about acquiring all of the information. It's also about being the jack of all trades kind of thing. It's like having a different interest. Now, having a North Node in this means that you're going to be attracted to many different things, and that's okay. Like that's your thing. Like some people, like they have that one thing and that's it. Like for you, there's going to be multiple things, which probably means multiple streams of income that you're going to be interested in, which is why you could easily spread yourself too thin. That's why you got to be careful. Like, if you're going to have a lot of different things that make you money, it's better to pick some things that you're happiest with and kind of do away with the things that are going to like really like suck you dry of your energy, especially since you have so much passiveness in your chart. Because it'd be very easy for you to get, like, say, if it's a group thing, it'd be very easy for you to give all your energy to the group and leave nothing for yourself, instead of doing the things that really do excite you and make you happy. Another thing with Gemini is talking. I mean, look at Shin. He has a Gemini stellium. Is talking. Get a Gemini excited and they will talk forever.
Oh, 100%.
Now, for you, you want to find this energy, and that's the kind of energy you want to be in. So, Shin real. So, it's like, if anything, being with Shin does help you, because your energy that you want to like really work towards and be towards is literally his energy. That's probably why you're fine doing whatever whenever he says it, because it's like, that really lines up with something that makes me happy.
Yes.
Yes. And it's like, you don't really understand it. It's because you have this in here, this little north node that's like really pulling you towards it. It's like a magnet. Like the north node and the south node are also known as Rahu and Ketu, the Ouroboros that eats its tail. So it's like the thing that's just constantly going. More of a version of me.
Oh, that is true. I now say things that he has said.
Well, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Gemini is the sponge, like the copycat, the mimic. So, like, you picking up that energy is just like another energy you really like. Hey, Pasta. So, having, like I said, this in here, it's more about you will have a huge variety of interests. And not saying you will be bad at any of them, but you really have to kind of pull back and understand what is going to benefit you. Because if it was in another house, like, it would really affect that house. But being in the house that's supposed to be a value and like how you create money, your perception of money and things like that, means that you could easily become obsessive over money without even meaning to, in a way that like drains you and your like resources. And your resources will be just giving out everything that you do to other people because you're so passive and don't really have that backbone to say, but this is for me, kind of thing. Looking exquisitely rich as always. But having their money saving habits.
We don't need to talk about that. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing. This is your personal finances. Like I said, 8th house is like other people's finances and how it comes to affect you, like inheritances and stuff. 2nd house is your own personal finances and what you create. So that's why you need to be like careful with this, because yes, it's good to go towards your north node and like do things that really excite you in life. But when it becomes an obsession, it can like take away from all the other points in your life and you just become about that. And that's not a good thing. That's usually when people get a little lost.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Shin is gonna have me on a leash.
I mean, if you like that. You know how he is with this little thing knowing your stuff, so. But having, oh my gosh.
Oh. I mentioned this with another friend.
Why would you think I'm wholesome? What the?
I mentioned this with another friend. Like, we're both gonna have just like the little backpacks, but that have the little leash on them.
Oh my gosh, the child things.
Yeah.
the harness.
Yeah. We're like, we're just gonna be stuck in that for like a visit.
Yeah. Nah. Believe me. Okay, look. I know a lot of people have met me through doing these things, and see, that's another thing too. A lot of people see me as being naive and wholesome. I'm really not. The thing is, I can be naive to terms, to like what things are called, but I understand things, and I've had a very colorful life, so believe me, I am not wholesome and naive in the way people seem to think I am. That happens because of how my stuff is set up. Everyone sees me as being innocent and wholesome.
Oh, just, I remember growing up, people were like, "No, you're too innocent for this conversation." I'm like, I'm really not.
I'd be like, I understand it more than you do. Don't try me.
Exactly. Just because I'm shorter than everyone here doesn't
Exactly.
mean that I'm innocent.
Yeah. It also came down to people like would see me and like my appearance just like gives off innocence for some reason. I'm just like, I don't understand why, but okay, guys.
A lady once in public started talking to me as if I was a child,
Oh my god.
as if like looking like speaking down to me, but in
Yeah.
like one of those nice ways that like adults talk to like little kids.
Yeah.
After this conversation, because this was right in front of my mom, after this conversation, I looked at my mom and I go, "Do you think that lady thought I was way younger than I actually am?" And my mom's like, 100%. I'm like, I'm older. I'm an adult.
Yeah.
I promise.
I remember I used to like in my early 20s, I worked in a liquor store. Obviously, you have to be 21 to work with liquor. Hello. And people would come in and be like, "Are you old enough to be working in here?" I'm like, "Excuse." Yeah, I'm like, "No, they just let minors work with alcohol." Like, I would get very sarcastic.
Uh, no, I know. Not only that I'm short, like Shin said, not
Mm-mm.
only am I small, but I just have that face.
Yeah, just a
That
face.
it's the face. It's like you look like 16, 17. I'm like, I am
Mm-hmm.
not.
Yeah.
I am not. I am at the end, but by New Year's Eve, I will be age appropriate legal drinking age. That yes.
But yeah, like that's how people have always like seen me too. It doesn't matter what age I was. And at some point I'd be forgetting how old I am because I'm just like, wait, how old was I? I have this distinct memory of when I was in high school and I was like riding on a school bus. And I was leaning against a window and I was trying to remember how old I was. I'm like, wait, am I 13? Am I 14? Wait, how old am I? Like, I just have that memory for some reason of forgetting how old I was. But it's like eventually I
Oh.
remembered I was 16.
I sometimes forget my brother's age.
Oh, that's kind of normal.
Yeah.
I forget mine too sometimes.
Oh no.
My little baby. I mean, it doesn't help that I kind of have very bratty energy. So I think that kind of adds to like the shortness and being a brat. It just doesn't like bode well. Thank you. Thank you, hun. I appreciate it. But he laughs at my brattiness and thinks it's cute. So, you know what? I get to be a full-blown brat. I'm fine.
Oh, no, oh my goodness. I'm I'm making Shin, as soon as we move in, I'm making Shin watch the new episodes that came out on Bluey. That's my new comfort show.
Yeah, I'm always like finding random animes to watch for some reason. And then he's just like, what is this? That's our show. Of course we're watching. Oh my god, that scared the living crud out of me. I was not expecting the Law and Order sound. It just like jolted me out of nowhere. But okay. So, since we have gone over for the most part most things, I think the last thing I'll talk about is the last part of your big triangle that's not showing with its blue part over here. Before I talk about the transits that are happening, like I did for Shin.
Oh, okay.
So, the last leg is going to be going to your Neptune from the North Node. Well, the only free ones that I do are like for the show. Otherwise, they're paid on my Ko-Fi. But I do it for like guests on the show. For like content creators and like artists and stuff like that.
Ooh.
So it's like, it's promo for my show. So, having the North Node trine to your Neptune up here. This is that thing I was telling you about with the obsession thing. Because having this trine means you have this easy kind of open pathway to like your career right here, being very connected to your like purpose and what you want to do. So instead of it like, you know how some people it's like they get in a career but it's not really what they want to do. It's like you have this ability to like kind of fall into that, but you have to be very careful that you, like I said, because this is where it's going to be tricky for you. Finding what you really like. Obviously, if you really like it, it's easy to become obsessed with it. You also have it trining a planet that's all about escapism and illusions. So it'd be very easy for you to be like, I love this thing so much, it makes me money. I'm just going to spend all my time on it and all my efforts into it. And it becomes an escapism from things that you don't like. So you start neglecting other parts of your life because it turns into that. So you have to be careful with that. Like, there's a lot of opportunity for it. Wedding planning. But it's like, there's a lot of opportunity for it. But you don't want it to, like, come at the expense of, like, your physical health, your mental health, your relationships, and things like that. It's like, because it's one of those things where it's like, it can obsessively become something where it's like, okay, I'm not feeling too happy with where I am physically right now, so I'm just going to work. It can easily like turn into something like that. Instead of like focusing on, well, maybe if I'm not happy with what's going on physically, I could work towards doing something that would make me happier. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if it makes you money. Because you're like, obviously I can substitute making money for feeling better about my physical self. Or if like there's a health issue and it's like you don't want to focus on it. It's like, well, I can focus on this instead, and at least I'm making money while I'm doing it. So it's like, it's feeding the wound you have over here, because even though Capricorn's tradition is also success, and success can look like making money. So you have to be careful that you don't feed into the wound by doing that. It's then when they don't eat or drink water. Yeah, like, that's one thing you really have to be careful of. And the thing is, you won't really realize it because mentally, since you have like this interception, it won't feel like that. It'll just feel like you're passing the time doing something you really like when you're neglecting yourself. So you have to be like aware of it and actively like make decisions to do things that are good for your body and good for your mental health and good for your relationships, instead of like, because this will come very easy. That's why it'll be harder for you to say no to it. Instead of like, you know how people like really struggle for it and then it's like, okay, I need to take a break because I'm struggle busting with this. It's like, it'll come a lot easier for you. You don't feel like you need to take a break.
It's like, I'm not hungry. I could go a couple more hours.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it starts out small like that, but you don't realize that it's creating routines because you know you need those routines. It's creating different routines that you're doing that aren't healthy for you. And then you'll get stuck in those routines because you kind of have that illusion up that, oh, I've been fine so far.
Yeah. Now I only eat at least once a day, which is not as healthy as it's not healthy. Eating just one
Mm,
meal a day, and I know Shin is gonna make me eat 3 times a day after the move.
force me, don't worry. But yeah, that's just something to be careful of because you know, even when like he's not around and stuff, this is something you actively have to remember so you don't like bury yourself in work to get away from other problems. Because especially since you internalize a lot of things, even if you do express a lot of stuff to him, there's going to be stuff you internalize, and if you feel shame around it, you might just keep it to yourself and work and act like everything's okay. So you really have to hold yourself accountable for these things. Because you don't want to end up in the hospital because of that. That won't be a fun
Nope.
time.
Nope. Well, I wouldn't say. And did I end up in the hospital once? Uh, this was. I think this did happen. It was like a while ago. This was like a while ago. I went to urgent care that day. I was picked up early from school because I had been texting my parents saying that I am like I just felt fatigued, like no energy, very tired. I just felt off and like in the middle of the night, that previous night, I woke up feeling as if I was being cooked alive in an oven.
Mm.
And all I did was like lower temperature, go back to sleep. I'm like, It probably gonna pass. And I went back to sleep, and then, I felt normal, and then just fatigued. It is awful. And I was sent to urgent care. And they found a few things that apparently I was very low on sodium and potassium because I wasn't eating correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And all the stress and stuff.
Yeah, coming from some, I can't
Yeah.
like sit here and like, you know, pot call the kettle black kind of thing because I did the same thing and wound up in urgent care way more than enough myself. But it was also because my chart kind of lends to giving me very weird and rare illnesses and that you wouldn't even know existed. So it's just kind of like, thank you. But it's like, but I also would work through what I was feeling instead of listening to my body. So it's like, even though it would give me stuff, I probably could have caught it if I listened to my body too. It's a lesson I had to learn very hard to listen. But it's also one that you're gonna have to learn because having this stuff in here means that you're gonna listen a lot. Like, you already don't listen as well as you want to, but listening to yourself is even lower on the bar than listening to your other people. So that's why this becomes a big thing, even though you don't really think it would be. But when you already don't view yourself as like, you know, that important on your bar, it's easy to just kind of discard the little bit that you do.
I see. I see.
Now, let's get into some transits.
Yippee!
Now, you have some of the house stuff happening because you know how, you know, I told Shin to be looking out for some things because it's going
Yes.
retrograde over his stuff. Same thing's kind of happening for you, just like a train. But you have the Venus retrograde happening, and it's going back over your fourth house, right? Which is the home, is home life. Now, This could be as simple as renovating, changing some things in the house, making it more pretty. But this could also be like, how Shin's going through with the move. And it's like you're moving in the middle of this. And like stuff can go wrong when you're moving in the middle of it. Just like how stuff can go wrong with renovations. But this could also be dealing with family too. If it's not dealing with like moving and renovations and stuff, it could be dealing with like your personal family relationships and having to revisit and talk to them about things that you probably put off before and like things coming up that you thought you wouldn't have to like talk about again. Especially things like from around like 8 years ago. Like if there's anything that really stuck out in like 2015 for you that you can remember, like incidences and stuff like that with your family, it could easily be something that comes up around this time too for people. Because the Venus retrograde happened then too, so it kind of like has like an 8-year cycle. So if anything happened then that comes up now, it could be like reoccurring and then it comes up in the family again and it's like, oh, okay, I'm dealing with this again. I didn't know if you wanted to talk or if it was me.
Uh,
I was making sure.
no, I'm trying to figure out, like, trying to think, like, did anything happen? Did anything happen?
It's really hard. Like I had to actually go back and look at pictures from 2015 to see like what was I doing and kind of like go through it and think about it.
Um,
I
I
couldn't
mean,
remember. I had to think like how old was I? What was I doing?
ooh, I
It's
don't
it,
know.
it's hard, but it's really weird because like when you think about it, like there was someone else. It was really funny. Like I was like watching a live and like these were people that kind of knew about astrology and like they were talking about like something they were doing. I'm like, well, what were you doing in 2015 then? And they were like, I was moving in with my best friend. I'm like, oh, look at you doing the exact same thing right now because they had to move in with their best friend. It's the same friend and they're moving into a house together. And literally at the same time. And I was just like, oh, look at you repeating. Literally the same thing. It's so weird. Like for all the instances to happen for that to happen again. It's so freaking weird. But it's like if you look back at stuff like later, it might see some themes, especially like say if you were younger in 2015, you might notice themes as opposed to like actual things. Like maybe like emotions or certain things you were feeling at the time when dealing with it. It might also be just certain things that happened in your family at that time, like happened to your family.
Uh,
And hmm?
I, I'm looking through pictures and I'm saying, that I went to a family wedding. I don't know if that would count. And a few days ago, I went to another family. I'm like, where's mine?
Where's my wedding? I want to be the family wedding. What the heck? Well, you are planning for it, so it's like the themes around there. It could be why it's so heightened in your mind.
It may not be official, but someone can dream.
Someone can dream it's coming. It's like very on the mind right now. Just like really thinking about it.
But yeah, in 2015, I went to a wedding, and then a few days ago, I went to a wedding. So,
It's really funny how sometimes it literally can do stuff like that, but it could be like a lot of themes around it. Like if it was like a happy kind of event, then it could be like, happy events, things that affect you like in a positive way in your life and kind of shape things. Like, was going to that something that made you really start thinking about weddings?
um, I think after the first wedding I've been to, I was like, I really like weddings. And then ever since, I just became obsessed. Like that's my backup. Like my what is it called? Just a backup job thing that I would love to
Mm,
be a
mm,
wedding planner and just
mm.
help people, or at least like help brides find their wedding dress.
Oh, there you go. See,
That'd be
that's
so
you
pretty.
see, that's what I'm saying. Like you have like a lot of interests. That's very, very Gemini, having a lot of interests. It's about narrowing it down to the ones that you like really make you happy instead of just keep you busy. Because like if you do something and you know you have something else that like you really, really enjoy, it's better to at least try that and see if you want to do it.
Mm.
Because, you know, say you do the computer thing and it's like you really like it, but you still always have in the back of your mind, but what about this? You could always do like a little side hustle and kind of like open up your own thing to kind of test it out. Because it probably would like take off pretty easily with how you have your stuff set up. And you could try it out and see if you like really like it. Because if you have
That's
the obsessive
true.
planning with it, like, hello, like, you don't need to go to school to be an obsessive planner if it's already in your chart.
That's true. I did take wedding planning business together. We can. We could. I did take I did take Shin to a wedding dress store, but not only wedding dresses like quinceañera or prom dresses,
Mm-hmm.
but I only went to look at wedding dresses. And there was actually this like I don't she looked around like our age, my age or something. She like came up to us, asked if we needed help. We're like, no, we're just looking. And then she came back like a few minutes later. She's like, I'm just wondering, um, when's the wedding? I'm like, there's no wedding. There's no wedding.
Aw. But it's like you could tell you really have a passion for it. It could be honest with you. It could be more of that theme because you know having weddings, creating families, things like that. But it's
Yes.
like this is the glamour for you because it's Leo. It's retrograde in Leo. So the glamour of family, which I'm pretty sure you would see weddings as being glamour.
Yes.
So having that like resurface again is pretty much like, you know, I've always had this, but like I'm finding this newfound passion for it. It could be trying to say like, you know, try something with it instead of just like sitting on it. Because nothing's stopping you from having like your own little online thing where you can be like a consultant for people. Be like, hey,
That's
I know
true.
your body type and I know you would look amazing in this and like have like all this stuff because you have like all the background with it just because of your obsession with it.
It could also be like making stuff for weddings, like wedding invitations, just make them like different themes that aren't as
Mm-hmm.
common. So it's like, hey, you like anime? Here's an anime kind of wedding planning thing.
Yeah, which could easily take off too because you're combining, you know, your VTubing with that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of different things that you could do with it if you just sat and brainstormed with it instead of feeling like, because I think that whole thing, that traditional thing, is feeling like, you know, I'm kind of trapped because the only thing I could really do is be a wedding planner. No, you could do a lot of stuff with it. You can even combine the design aspect of it and design your own kind of crazy looking dresses and stuff. Like you don't have to limit yourself to, you know, what traditionally is known. It could be like that other box thing, feeling like you have to give up part of like a passion you have and follow something else because it's like allowing you to be further outside the box. Like I could see it
Mm.
easily be where it's harder for you to maintain that gender fluid thing if you kind of fall into the wedding thing because it's like it's very feminine.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but the thing is you can still have your identity while doing this. It's just all about how you set it up. That's all it comes down to. I think this is really about you reevaluating your passions.
Well, the Shin and I are gonna be busy. With the wedding planning, side job, hustle.
The side job hustle. Like I said, make sure you keep balance though, because like I said, you finding what you like and being obsessed over it will be the easy part. You having balance between what you're doing and throwing all your energy into it is what's going to be hard for you.
Yes.
Now, obviously, it might come as a shock to your family to be like, yeah, I'm going into a wedding planning type thing, and they'll be like, what?
Since when?
Since
Since
when?
now.
It's like, you can be like, I've always had this, I just didn't talk about it. That would probably be a conversation you'd have with your family once it gets over there. Like, I've always had this.
Oh, true. I always try like talking about it with like my mom, but then she gives me like this weird look and be like, clearly you're not interested. And just leave them be.
Yeah, I think this is like a whole lot of reevaluating because it does start over in your creative things. So this is like reevaluating what really like gets your spark going. And then being able to bring it and like give foundation to it. Cause like the fourth house, yes, it's family, but it's also your foundations. So you being able to like solidify the foundations and feel more like at home in it is gonna be like a big bonus for you. And it's gonna be going back over your Jupiter, which is really good too. So it's almost like you're having this like revisiting energy over like your lucky stuff. So if you can like tap into it and be like, well, this is what I've wanted to do, so I'll just like give it like a test run, it probably would go well. But make sure you create boundaries for yourself, since you kind of lack that over here. Make sure you create boundaries of like, you know, taking breaks ever so often, even if like things get very exciting and stuff. Like have something you've promised yourself beforehand that you're going to adhere to, because everything starts slow. I mean, you can even combine your like VTubing wedding planning thing and make it a persona.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I mean, you don't really see many VTubing wedding planners.
You don't. Maybe I'm the first.
But it's like, this is about finding what really makes you happy and lights you up, and then not being afraid to like really share it and like dive into it. And then once you've kind of like dove into it and things like, because you know, this whole month is retrograde. So you're going to be able to like revisit, look through things, see what you really like. Come September, it won't be retrograde. So there'll be like some forward movement. And once it's more into the fifth house, you're going to be able to start like solidifying things come like late September or early October. So even if things are slow, like, you know, the planning takes a bit and then getting stuff started, like knowing what you want to do takes a while, like a couple months, it's still on track. So don't feel like you're behind anything.
Okay.
But this could easily just be like a whole planning stage for you. And it'd be perfectly fine. Because, you know, you haven't announced this thing to the world yet. It's like your own little baby. So you make with it what you want instead of like thinking you have to be a certain way. The more out the box you can be, the better, honestly. Especially having your Neptune and Uranus up here in Aquarius. Like they want to bring out some wackiness in your 10th and 11th house. Even though your 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, but the thing is, with the 10th house being ruled by Capricorn, it's in its natural energy. That's like CEO energy, being like the boss. This is like This is big boss energy. So instead of feeling like you're like under people, it would be like having your business and being the boss of it, being the best at what you do, being the goat that hops all the way to the top of that mountain. So don't feel like you can't succeed. You have it in you to succeed at whatever you do, and you have the stuff that just gives you the opportunities to do it. It's more like just choosing what actually makes you happy in doing it instead of doing something that you feel will be accepted better.
I see. I see.
And don't be afraid of your forgetfulness. I mean, if you're your own CEO and you forget something that, you know, you don't have anyone you're answering to but yourself. That could be where you kind of are able to break out of this thing, because if you're working for people and having the issue, like obviously you're kind of at the mercy of it. But if you're your own thing, you can like have fail safes in place for yourself, where it's like, hey, I know I'm prone to do this kind of thing, so I'll have this set up for myself in case I do. You know, just kind of plan for yourself because you know how you are.
Just have a little notebook just for reminders.
Whatever works best for you. And the thing is, no one can tell you how to run your stuff because it's yours. And if Shin wants to help, I'm pretty sure that he'd be good at helping since he's like very supportive. But he also like really has to let you learn to take the lead. Because I know he's very like leads with his quiet stick and everything. But like he has like a natural leader kind of energy, whereas you're needing to learn to have that instead of following in order to have this. You need to be able to say like this is yours and you're in control of it and have that responsibility.
Gotta be tough.
Even though your tough is going to be like doing pretty stuff, it's still got to be tough. But yeah, don't worry about the outside talk of things, saying that's not, we haven't heard of that, that's not really traditional, that's not something you can make money in. It's not something everyone can make money in, but it's something you can make money in. But you just gotta look at it like my stuff isn't set up like yours. You have a different blueprint from me, so don't try me. Yeah, it is good to push her to stand up. I mean, push them to stand up for themselves, but it's more like they have to find how can I put this? They have to find their own reason why they want to stand up for themselves and what they're doing. Instead of like just the other person saying like you need to do it, it's more like they need to find that inner fire, even if it comes off as being like only slightly haughty towards people. But it's like she might not be full-blown Latino anger or something, but she can definitely dang it, this okay. I will get it right half the time. But they need that their own fire in the own way that they express it. Otherwise, it's not going to stick. And then people will be able to like push them over in their own endeavors, as opposed to them being like, hey, I'm very proud of this and it's mine and you have no say in this. Because you're not going to be able to be there for telling them to like stand up for themselves when they're like on their own talking with a client. Like this has to be something that they know their boundaries and like they're proud of, and like they have the things in place where it's like they don't back down, especially if they have like a thing that is client based, which this really would be like a one-on-one basis thing. You could make informational videos and different things like that, getting yourself out there that people can watch, but it's really going to come from your interactions with people. So like developing those people skills and those boundaries is going to be very important. So I don't think computer animation, you'd need them as much for that. But for this, if you're really passionate about it, you're going to need to build that backbone and be like, it's mine. Don't push me around in my business. You're coming to me for a consultation, not the other way around. If you didn't need my business, then you shouldn't have came here. It's pretty much what it is.
I gotta be tough. I gotta have a backbone. I can't be a pushover.
You gotta have faith in yourself. And know that like you're doing this from a place that like you really enjoy it and that you know what you're doing because you've taken so much time with it. I still order for you restaurants. Okay, look, food, that's food. Okay? We are talking about like her life passion and her doing something she do fucking them doing something. My brain. We are talking about their life passion, them doing something that is very important to them, which is a lot different than ordering food at restaurants. Maybe for people that have a lot more tourist placements, you know, ordering exactly what they want at the freaking restaurant is very important to their life purpose or something. But like this right here is like being able to do what they love and simultaneously stand up for what they love if there's pushback for it on their own because they want to, not because, you know, other people keep saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. It's like them finding that fire in themselves and being like, I want to do this. Especially sweets.
I can't. I love sweets. I love cake. Ooh, you. I just realized what my anime spirit character could be.
Hmm.
Have you seen Ouran High School Host Club? Or heard of?
I've seen some of it.
Okay. Uh, do you remember that little small guy with the plushie?
Kinda.
Honey Senpai. He's obsessed with cake and sweets, and that's basically all
Oh,
he eats. As that would be,
yeah.
that would be me.
Well, once again, cakes and sweets don't have the things you need. So if you're gonna have cakes and sweets, make sure you have like at least a supplement you're taking to get the other stuff you need. Like I said, if like there's gonna be something you really like, make sure you just have something to balance it out. So there's always ways to balance things out. If you know you're not good about getting like your nutrients and stuff, like get a multi that at least gets you like the basic stuff you need. So that way you're not like winding up in a urgent care randomly for deciding that, you know, all I need is sweets.
Of course, of course.
But that is gonna be a really like fun thing for you to plan. And the thing is, let the planning for it be fun. You don't want the planning for it to take away from the fact that you like love it so much. Like anytime you feel that happening, give yourself room to take a break from it and come back to it instead of becoming frustrated with it. Because the worst thing you can do is burn out a passion by like pushing yourself through frustration on it.
Yeah.
But this makes for like a good how can I put this? It's like a good springboard for you. And then once you feel comfortable with it, being able to go back and like try to explain to your family, like especially if it's doing well, it's like you won't have to tell them, you know, you're thinking about doing it. You can say, I'm doing this and it's doing well. That would sit a lot different with your family. So it's probably a lot more about like with your family rethinking the ways in which you should approach them with things. Because if they need tangible stuff and they're not really good with like conceptualizing, you know, the abstract from what you've seen, they might just need like seeing that something is doing a certain way for them to be like, okay, hey, I can get on board and support that very easy. Because obviously gender fluid is like abstract to them and it doesn't anything they can really put their finger on with it.
Yeah.
So, you know, having like a thing where it's like, I have a business idea, and they're like, that, I don't understand how that would do anything. The only way for them to understand is them to see, like, hey, I did this, look at how well it's doing. So there's probably like a lot of like revising like the ways you would interact with your family on those levels too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like you could be excited and want to share with them, you know, that you figured something out and like you're very happy about it, but in the concept, like the beginning, it might feel like it might be better to hold off until like I have like some solid groundwork going with it. Because since you are very susceptible to outside talking, that's something you need to like grow in strength on. Like having like a group of people that like you care about tell you like, yeah, no, we can't really support this would probably be like pretty shattering for you.
Yeah. It would make me sad.
Yeah. So like keep this in its like beginning idea stage, more to yourself to Shin. You know, work on doing things that make you excited when you have the time to take breaks, when you feel like it's a lot, and then like come back to it. But once you actually have groundwork done and you've like had a few clients, you can tell your family like this is a real thing. So that they take you seriously instead of feeling like, okay, this is something else we can't understand from her. It's like, what? And at least that way they can just be supportive.
Yeah. I mean, they're usually supportive. Like whatever I want to do, they're like, "All right,
All right.
you do what you want to do." But it's always like with that, like I wanted to work in like a kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and they just like, okay, and they kind of helped me find a job because this was like almost right out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
and they just it was very stressful. It was very stressful, and they weren't really helping with the stress and everything. They're like, "Yep, jobs are just stressful. That's how they are." And I'm like, can you help me?" It was, yeah, and then that ended up like not working out, and they're like, "Okay, so now you could go to school to study art stuff." I'm like, "All right, I see what happened here."
Mm. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you don't want to, like, for you, it'd be better to, like, talk to them about stuff that goes well with it so that they can just build support that way. And,
Mm,
like, if you have issues, it'd probably be better to talk to Shin because he'd still be supportive, but he won't tell you, like, okay, then stop doing it. Like, you know, the easy, like, cop out kind of thing.
yeah.
Because it seems more like, you know, they want you to go a certain way because they feel like that's how you'll succeed, which, you know, you probably could succeed at it, but you want to do something you're passionate about. And if you already saw how that was with just like getting a job with them, you kind of see how the dynamic would go. Like, yeah, trying to start your own business is hard. You know, it'd be a lot easier if you just go to school and work for somebody else, you know, that kind of thing. It's a lot better to like have the backbone when you have people that do that. They might love you and might think they're doing it for your best interest, but eh,
It
it
just like takes away motivation.
yeah, and it really stings, and you're just like, well, yeah, I guess so, you know. And it's like at that point, you know, that's why a lot of times people say it's really important that you choose who you share your dreams with.
Mm.
Because if you share it with everybody and then there's people that totally trash it, it's like there goes your dream. Especially if like, you know, you were wanting everyone to be receptive of it, like a few people that you wanted to be receptive of it, trashing it could easily just make you give up on it when that was what you were meant to do and that you'd be happy at. But don't let the fear of them also feminizing you for wanting to do this stop you from it either. Because you have to realize, as much as they care, there's always going to be people having like limited understanding of what they're willing to learn. Hey, Ladybug.
Yeah.
So they can care for you, but they just might not have that understanding. And some people never will.
Which is sad, but that's fine.
Yeah. But let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, I think I already kind of mentioned this, but there's another transit, the Saturn and Mars transit that's happening right now. They're opposite each other. And you're kind of having that play into the retrograde too, because it's hitting kind of the same house. But it's kind of like what I said, things might start slow, but have patience with it. Because that's the whole thing, is like having like an opposition between Saturn and Mars can make it to where things are frustrating and slow and feel restricted for no reason at all. So it's just like you feel tired and exhausted when trying to make any kind of progress. But it's a transit. It'll pass probably part way through this retrograde, so things will start like getting smoother and going easier as the month goes on. But for right now, it might just feel kind of like tense and feel like I'm exhausted. Why is this taking a lot more effort than it should? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like how I said, like give yourself breaks if you're feeling that, because it's not you. It's this thing passing over, and it'll get easier. And you'll be like, why wasn't it this easy to start with? That's why. But like give yourself time with it, and that also might come in the form, because it like kind of brings in your 11th house. It might come in the form of like, you know, availability of like friends or people feeling like, you know, you owe them your time, and friend groups, because you know you're starting something new and you're like, oh my gosh, I have this obligation and I gotta do this, so it's slowing this down, you know, that kind of stuff. Because when you get a new excited thing you're working on, you're like, oh heck yeah, I want to do this. It's like, crap, I already made promises to do these things. So like, don't feel bad if that happens. Just let the things happen. It's just part of the core of doing this. So you'll get there. Don't worry. Just take your time with it and have fun.
Yes, it will happen.
And I also want to see it when it happens. I want to see what it looks like, because I'm excited.
Which one? The wedding thing?
Whatever you do, I'm excited, because you have like a lot of options over here with this North Node. A lot of options of trying things and seeing what fits, trying the hats and seeing what you like. Don't limit yourself. That's probably the best way I can put it. You have one of those energies where it's like, if you limit yourself, you're actually like snuffing out some of your potential. Give everything a good try to see if you really like it. And you're not doing it to impress anybody. You're doing it to see solely how you feel about it while you're doing it. You don't care if it does good or bad. You're trying to see, how do I feel while I'm actually doing what it would take to do this?
That's true. That is like something I'm feeling towards with the computer animation stuff. Because it's like, I know how hard it is gonna be. I know how like stressful it's gonna be. But I want to see how worth it is at the end of it, after all the process. Like, okay, let's see this movie, this animated movie I worked so hard on. And if it's like really good, then I feel like it would be worth it, and I would like want to continue.
Yeah, that's what it has to be. Like, because the whole thing with Gemini, you don't want to be bored.
Nope.
It's like the enemy. You don't want to be bored. So you finding something that like the whole way through that you can be passionate about, you won't lose the spark for it. And that's going to be the key. Now, if something bores you to tears halfway through, it's going to be very hard for you to push yourself through that.
I'll have Shin as a support.
Yeah, that's why it's important to try everything. I mean, that's kind of the double-edged sword. It's like, yes, you could be great at many things, but it's finding the things that actually make you happy and don't bore you to tears in doing those things. That's going to be like the icing on the cake.
Zootopia moment. What?
I don't know.
I mean,
What was the Zootopia moment?
I don't know. What was Zootopia moment?
Try everything.
Oh, I forgot that was a song.
I did too. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here for you.
Okay.
I hope that this was interesting and all kinds of stuff all the way around. Went all around it.
It was very interesting and very fun. Oh, especially with like the beginning part with like the relationship, because I'm like, ooh, that's true. That kind of hit.
Yeah, but it's nothing bad. It's just more like you have like a very deep internal world that you don't really share all of it, but you share the important stuff that you feel that the person really needs. Lots of I told you so's to get there. Yeah, but that was something you didn't know with her having that deep internal world. You thought she shared every little thing.
It's like I want to share 'em, but no.
You might get there eventually.
I
Maybe,
most likely will.
but it's like it's a work in progress. I know
think
you
it's
keep
like
secret.
I think it's more of like I need to spend more physical time with with Shin, so
Mm,
I'm like fully gonna be able to like express myself, because we've seen each other in person three times, no, four, oh, 4 times, was it? I don't, I think it was four, but we spent like so much time together, like online, like playing games, streaming, and
mm.
then it's like 4 times. Yes, I was correct. Um, so I just feel like more physical time would be like
It'll help you
good.
slowly get opened up to
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's important, especially for a Scorpio to be able to open up. Oh, that's another thing. I usually tell everyone their big three. You have Scorpio Sun, Leo Moon, Taurus Rising. That's what your big three would be if someone asked you astrology. But they
I
wouldn't
also
know you have all this air. They wouldn't know all that's hiding in there.
yeah, I find it funny how those are like the big three, just like Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. It's
Mm.
because, I'm Scorpio, my dad's a Leo, my mom's a Taurus.
Yeah,
I'm like, ooh.
It is not a jab at you. He's a Scorpio stellium, so it is not a jab at you. It's true for pretty much most Taurus people. Like Scorpio suns in general have trouble, but when you have more than just the sun in Scorpio, it's a little harder to open up. He doesn't have Venus, he has everything else. Except for like major outlier planets, but all the other personal ones are in there with Pluto. So he's a little tougher to crack, but he's a softie with me.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I really hope you had a fun time.
I did. It was very fun.
And hopefully Shin doesn't, I told you so too much.
I don't know. He probably will. He most likely will.
But I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much everyone for coming. I'm not sure if I'm doing an episode next week because there's gonna be some IRL stuff coming up, so I don't know if I'm gonna want to rest after it. But we'll see. I will decide next week if I'm going to or not. But yes. Tessie and Poppy. Just gotta throw that in there. But I will see you all. I will see you all next time. Have a great rest of your Sunday or whatever time it is. Could be Monday for some of you, wherever you are. And I will see you all soon. Bye.